High Court presided over Justice Teresa Ogochi dismissed the preliminary objection raised by the impeached Speaker of Benue State House of Assembly, Tankebe Yangi, instigating the jurisdiction of the court to support the suit, stopping him and two other former principal officials of the House from displaying themselves as leaders of the House. The recent Speaker, Titus Uba, and 21 other People's Democratic Party (PDP) lawmakers in the 30 members of the House are of the opinion that the court barred Yangi and two others from assuming their former status after their impeachment in July. Meanwhile, at the commencement of the hearing of the matter last month, counsel to the Maman Asuma brought before the court a motion of preliminary objection instigating that jurisdiction of the court to support the matter on ground as the suit is connected to the federal government agencies. In a ruling that lasted for over 2 hours, Justice Ugochi held that the mere mention of the Nigerian police and other federal government agencies did rob the court of her jurisdiction, maintaining that the reliefs sought against government agencies were auxiliary. The justice further says, on the second ground of the preliminary objection is a reasonable course of action to warrant the said suit, consequently dismissed the preliminary objection in whole. The court thereafter fixed September 11 for ruling of an interlocutory injunction moved by the respondent counsel Honorable Sebastian in the same suit.
Federal government has approved the sum of 2 billion naira takeoff grant for the Nigerian Army University bill, which was recently approved by the Federal Executive Council. The Executive Secretary, Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TED Fund, Dr. Abdullahi Bava, made this known when he received the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, in his office in Abuja. TED Fund boss, who assured the Army Chief of the fund's readiness to support the school, said the money will be released soon when the federal government approved disbursement of the 2018 allocation to beneficiary public tertiary institutions in the country.
And for the Nigerian Army University in view, we are very much committed to ensuring that this university will grow very quick, very fast, and we are going to ensure that everything that TED Fund can do to accelerate the growth of the Nigerian Army University so that it will be at par with its peers. We will be able to do that. The first step, of course, is to release the approved take-off grant by the Federal Executive Council, and we are going to do that, like I said, immediately we get the necessary approval.
Earlier, Chief of Army Staff Buratai said the university, which is a unique science and technology-oriented institution in Nigeria, would enhance the ability of the military in dealing with insurgency and numerous security challenges confronting the nation.
We are happy in the Nigerian Army to join this great institution to go further, to have a unique university which is a solution center in science and technology, as well as in military capabilities in terms of equipment, needed military equipment, in terms of innovation, as well as deep and very, very important innovation which we intend to bring about, in the military, in Nigerian Army in particular. These days, you cannot fight just like within the conventional sense. We have gone beyond, warfare has transformed greatly, and it requires more scientific approach, it requires more intellectual approach than it used to be in those days. So from the resolution or the decision of the Federal Executive Council, the sum of 2 billion naira as a takeoff grant is being expected from the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, and we look forward to the disbursement of these funds as soon as all the processes are carried out, so that we'll be able to establish and move forward quickly to get all our hands on deck and to get the necessary staffing and facilities.
In Abuja, LM Chukwemeka reports. A civil society group in Nigeria, Safe Humanity Advocacy Center, has accused neighboring countries of breeding grounds to revive Boko Haram each time it is defeated in Nigeria. The group, at a press conference in Abuja, appealed to the United Nations to urgently set up a joint task force around the Lake Chad Basin to monitor and address the issue of rising insurgency in the region.
We want to raise our concerns and allow all that's involved to know about the multinational joint task force comprising of troops from Benin Republic, Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and Nigeria. It's apparent that these countries have not only left the group, they've actually pulled out from the initial agreement that Nigeria and the respective countries had in how to curtail the Boko Haram insurgency. We are appealing to the United Nations to urgently set up a joint action task team around the Lake Chad Basin. As a result of the complacency on this matter, will eventually haunt all stakeholders. The practice of waiting until situation gets totally out of hand before acting must not be allowed to apply in this particular case. A strong consideration to be made is to treat the countries colluding with Boko Haram as interfering to destabilize Nigeria, which is not allowed.
They called on the Nigerian government to break from the adherence to diplomatic protocol and openly issue cease and desist notice to countries that are fueling Boko Haram.
We in Save Humanity, we are therefore calling for an end to the grandstanding over the problem of terrorism in Nigeria. We demand that Nigerian authorities break from the adherence to diplomatic protocol and openly issue cease and desist notices to countries that are fueling the problem, whether they are Nigeria's immediate neighbors or they are world powers or being teleguided, because most times these things are being done remotely. We demand strong commitment from all concerned to end Boko Haram's activities and movement across borders to commit crimes in Nigeria. It's not acceptable that Nigeria's neighbors act as a breeding ground to revive Boko Haram each time it is defeated here on our soil. Consequently, we unequivocally demand implementation of the resolutions that were agreed at the conference organized by Nicolas Sarkozy when he was the French president.
The group, while commended the Nigerian military on its effort to defeat Boko Haram over the years, urged them to have a total audit of its personnel with the view to identify and fish out those that might have been compromised and are sabotaging the troops.
Conclude by urging the Nigerian military not to relent in their push against Boko Haram and should treat foreign support for the terrorists as an impetus to evolve new strategies for dealing with the threats they pose to our country's civilian population.
In Abuja, LM Chukwemeka reports.
The Bauchi State Governor Muhammad Abubakar has assured Nigerians that the gale of defections by some members of the Senate to opposition parties will not affect the electoral fortunes of the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC) in the 2019 general elections. Governor Abubakar, who briefed State House Correspondent after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the Aso Rock Presidential Villa, Abuja, equally said the recent defection by two senators of the All Progressive Congress in the state to the main opposition People's Democratic Party (PDP) was of no consequence. He said APC's resounding victory in the August 11 Congress election in the state was a manifestation of the party's stronghold and a sign that the outcome of the 2019 polls will not be any different. The governor said he was in the State House to adequately brief the president about what transpired during the Congress in the state. Recall that President Buhari was away in the United Kingdom, UK, for a 10-day working vacation when the election took place. From Abuja, I am Festus Ejiroge Nefifen for Ben Television.
Ahead of the 2019 general election, a group under the auspices of Women and Youth Support Group WAYS for Atiku has accused the ruling party of Progressive Congress APC of mismanagement and inflicting hardship on Nigerians. National President of WAYS for Atiku, Princess Adekemi Adesanya, made this known at the official inauguration ceremony of WAYS in Abuja.
Thus, the foundation of democracy in Nigeria is openly on the threat. As rule of law is trampled upon, the fundamental human rights of Nigerians are no longer guaranteed. The fulcrum on which the system of government revolves is being destroyed by the present-day government. The people running the government enjoyed freedom of speech, an association while they were the opposition years ago. But they are shutting same door against adversaries who they perceive as enemies of state. It is glaringly clear that the APC government is a disservice to this nation. It has plunged more Nigerians into poverty through recession. It has reversed the progress made in the 16 years of PDP. The results coming out of this government prove the fact that you cannot give what you don't have.
The group said they are adopting the former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar based on his past records and also having belief in him to bring Nigerians out of sufferings they are currently passing through.
Atiku Abubakar is not only running chains of successful businesses, but also has a history of being a true Democrat and defender of constitutionalism. Atiku is arguably among the topmost employers of labor in the country outside of apart government circle. He successfully worked for Nigeria as the vice president from 1999 to 2007 without rocking the boat of the country. His emulative antecedent speaks volumes. He is a beacon of hope for the masses.
Atiku Abubakar is one of the presidential aspirants contesting under the People's Democratic Party in Abuja. LM Chukwameka reports. Young African Leaders Initiative YALI has charged Nigerian youth and public office holders in the country to be transparent and accountable for their dealings and for their actions. National Coordinator YALI Network, Ovo Otahiro, gave the charge at a summit tagged Accountability and Transparency Summit in Abuja. He said young Nigerians from the 36 states are in the summit to proffer solutions to the country's social, economic, and political challenges which she has been facing over the years.
The summit is all about getting young people involved in governance. Research has shown that when government and institutions are not transparent and accountable, corruption increases. And corruption thrives when there's secrecy in the process of governance. So as members of the YALI network, we're saying that we're tired of the way things are in Nigeria. And we don't want to sit back and say we're tired. We want to proffer solutions. So in the past few weeks, young members of the network have been analyzing the problems of this country from state to state. And we have converged today to proffer the solutions. So we're not coming to say government will know better than you know. We have the responsibility as citizens to tell government, these are the challenges we recognize. This is what we are proposing as the solution to solve these problems. So it is a research-based work driven by young people. We have to make this country work. It's our responsibility as young people to do this.
One thing I see this program changing the narrative in our country is the fact that for instance, I'm a delegate from Adamawa State, and I have a proposed plan on how to enhance transparency and accountability at the state level. So this plan is not just a narrative from copied from wherever, the internet or so, but these are things that are coming from the community.
Each of the state's representatives are coming here and going back to their communities to make sure that their communities are well developed. We want the government to be more accountable, and with this, we'll have better development and better country.
But I really look forward to working with each and every one of you and hope to visit your various states throughout my tenure here in Nigeria. As many of you know, Nigeria is the primary strategic partner of the United States on the African continent. As such, the development of your country is of great interest to my government.
The group, while calling on all institutions of government to be transparent in all their dealings, also urged political parties fielding candidates in the forthcoming election to be open to its aspirants, especially young Nigerians.
We want to encourage the government to be transparent in the election process. If we are going to maintain a good democracy in Nigeria, the electoral process must be transparent, and we'll call on the political parties, let them be transparent even from the primaries down to the election proper. And to the government, in the time in post-election litigations, we are saying that there should be transparency in this process. If people have come to challenge an election result, let that process be transparent. Government and individuals should be transparent and accountable to the people. That is what we are calling for.
He called on young Nigerians not to get themselves involved in any form of violence as the country prepares for its general election come 2019.
Our message to the youth as members of Yali Network is this: every youth of this country, take this seriously. There should be no violence. Irrespective of the person who approaches you with money, do not give in to violence. Never allow your votes to be bought. Because the moment we collect money for our vote, we have mortgaged our future for 4 years. And when we do that, our nation is on the brink of destruction. Our democracy is threatened.
Yali is an initiative of the United States government, which have its members in the civil society organizations, civil servants, and students who devote their time and resources to create impact in the local communities across the 36 states of the Federation. In Abuja, LM Chukwemeka reports.